Do you remember when I used to sell penis pills, right? The penis enlargement pills?
With your jelqing.
Hey, man, jelqing, Jelq. That was part of the pitch.
Did it work?
It sold. Right?
Good point.
When people would ask me, does it work?
It sold.
I'd say it sells.
And then you would say, but you have to do your exercises with the jelqing.
For 20 minutes an evening, plus take the pills.
Welcome to the D-Money Show. Don't be a clown, don't sleep.
Gotta let him have it.
Welcome to the D-Money Show. Fuck.
I'm Darren Blatt. I'm the brother of Kevin Blatt, the mastermind behind the PR Blueprint. And we're going to do a quick little podcast to tell you why, if you're in PR, you need the PR Blueprint by the master himself, Kevin Blatt. Kevin, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, thank you. This is the first time you've ever referred to me as the master of anything.
Don't get too used to it.
Maybe the masturbator.
Okay. So, Kevin, you've always been more of a controversial figure. You seem to chase the headlines. You go after the jugular, as it is in press. Like you really have no filter. That's always gotten you by. But for someone else, they might not have that sort of strategy. Are you teaching them all these secrets, and can they actually get in touch with the TMZs of the world? Like, tell me, what can they get inside this blueprint?
First of all, anybody could get in touch with anybody. That's what I teach people. You have to have the balls to do it. The thing that separates me from anybody else just out there trying to get press is balls, right? My whole feeling, just like with any woman, you could walk up to any woman in any place in the world and ask them who they are, what's their name, would they like a drink, would they like to hang out, right? But most people have such a disconnect with that. They have a hard time with rejection, right? If it's one thing you and I learned growing up, knocking on doors and selling pictures, remember? Those days when we would go knock, knock, knock. Hey, we're the Blatt brothers from AIM Enterprises, and we're selling pictures today that are wholesale. You know, these are the pictures you usually buy at a mall for $50 to $60 framed and dry mounted behind glass. Listen, today we're going to let them go for $20 a piece. $20.
I'm ready to buy right now.
Right? And we used to do that.
Is it that easy in PR, though?
It's that easy. It's about knocking on doors. How many doors a day did we knock on?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Hundreds.
At least 100, right?
At least. Some days, hundreds.
And what would you say the failure rate was when we would knock on those doors? How many people told us to get the hell off?
Probably 9 out of every 10.
Right. So we were looking for that one person, right? And we were looking to sell them as much as possible.
What you're saying is when it comes to PR, you have to do the numbers?
It's all about the numbers, right? You might, if you're just going to send a press release to Forbes or to Sports Illustrated, you're going to probably starve to death because you have to send it to every blog that is like your product or like your service. You have to send it to every place that you are not thinking about outside of the box. What separates you from Joe Blow, right? It's persistence and perseverance, right? That's what Ray Kroc has on his tombstone, the founder of McDonald's. It's persistence, perseverance. The more emails you send out, the more rejection you get, I guarantee you the more success you're going to have.
Okay, so for those who aren't sold yet because they don't know who you are, can you give us a quick off the top of your head, some of the bigger media outlets or shows that you've been on?
Okay, so to start off, my name is Kevin Blatt. I'm also known as Darren Blatt's brother, or D-Money.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore. Now I'm Kevin Blatt, the world's foremost celebrity sex tape broker. I'm also known as the Hollywood Fixer. I've become the Hollywood Fixer because I've tried to change the narrative, which is one of the things I teach in my course, is how to change the perception and turn that perception into reality. For many years, I was just known as a sex tape broker, so everybody just was, oh, he's the sex tape guy, which you can imagine was great in my dating life, right? No, it wasn't. It wasn't until much later when people realized that not only can I put out a story and make somebody famous, I could do the reverse of that by helping them with their online reputation, right? So what I do these days is if a celebrity comes to me and says, hey, I want to gain some popularity and become a household name, well, then I'll formulate a recipe for them to do that. If they come to me and they say, oh my God, that sex tape that I had out 10 years ago, it's killing me. I can't get any type of work with Disney or any type of wholesome television programming because of it. can you make this disappear from me? Can you get rid of all this negative press? Well, then I could do that too. Just tell me what side of the desk you want me to be on today. You ask me what press I've generated, what shows have I not been on? That's the real question.
Well, I think some of the more impressive ones, I'll speak for you.
Yeah.
Howard Stern.
I was on Howard Stern show. And if you remember on the Howard Stern show, I crafted it with the company that I worked with, which was called sexbrat.com. And they asked me, how would I like to be remunerated? How would I like to be compensated for my appearance? And I said, well, how about every time I say sexbrat.com, you pay me $1,000? And every time I get Howard to say sexbrat.com, you pay me $2, which they happily obliged. Have you listened to Howard Stern recently?
Yes.
How many plugs do they get off? Maybe 1 or 2 now?
If that, he hates when people get their plugs off.
Do you know why he hates it? Because of me. I'm the one that fucked it up for everybody.
Right.
I'm the one that screwed it up for everybody because I not only got 26 plugs to sexbrat.com, I got him to say sexbrat.com 4 times. If you do the math, that was the first big paycheck I ever took home.
What was interesting is it was like a PR clinic because every time you referenced your client, you said
sexbrat.com.
My client, sexbrat.com.
That's correct.
And that's really the key in PR is to make sure that the brand gets heard over and over and over. That's a fundamental that people forget about.
It's repetition. You know, many years ago, I sold radio advertising in Cleveland, Ohio for WNCX. Shout out to Cleveland. I also was in sales at 91X selling Howard Stern in San Diego. The one thing that they teach you with radio sales is the first time somebody hears an ad, they hear it as they're driving and passing. They don't really pay attention to it. The second time, they notice that ad. The third time, they take note of that ad, which hopefully the 4th time they hear that ad is when they act on it, right? So PR is really no different. It's a frequency medium. What you want to do is constantly get that name, constantly get that message in front of as many people as possible, and you beat them with it. You beat them into submission till they finally say, okay, sexbrat.com, which is exactly how Howard ended my 9.5-minute diatribe, which, by the way, you could actually
He was laughing about it.
It was hysterical. But if you go back and you listen, you could go on YouTube, right? YouTube will it's got the Howard Stern, Kevin Blatt. You could listen for yourself and hear where the jump off was. That was my defining moment, which separated me from the layman out there who's just trying to get press to a guy who could command press at any given moment, anywhere, any place, anytime.
So tell us some more of your outlets, by the way.
I got Rolling Stone magazine, Vanity Fair, New York Times, Bild magazine in Germany. I just did RTL television yesterday in Germany. This is a global thing. And not only do I teach you how to get press in my modules here locally, I teach you how to get press globally. It just depends on the story. So yeah, I've got media contacts that run the gamut from the UK and Daily Mail, the Sun, the Mirror, to, like I said, TMZ had been one of the bigger places that I've been selling all my stories to. And from a period of 2006 to about 2012, I would have to say about 80% of the stories you read about, I had my hand in somewhere.
What's interesting is I know in the PR blueprint, you talk about how when you do the podcasts or you get any kind of press out there, it generates the SEO side of things.
Right.
And the unknown part that for those viewers out there is, how do you constantly keep getting more press? Well, it's because when people Google you, whether it's the Paris Hilton sex video or any involvement you had with Ray J, with the Kim Kardashian, they see your name over and over. So if somebody were to release a sex tape video, there's only one place to go, and that's you.
Right.
But it's because of that search engine result, because you've done the press.
Correct. Search engine optimization is your friend. If it's one thing that I've learned with working this company I work with now, which is called Brand Cloud, they're a Japanese company, we incorporate AI into the equation, where we're actually able to not only push down negative results, we could lift up your brand, which is everything. Right? When people think of Toyota, they think of what? They think of
that your car will never break down and it's going to go 300,000 miles.
Right. Or you think of what? A Camry. You think of a Tundra. You think of all these different names of different vehicles that Toyota comes out with. Well, why do you think of those names? Because those are the names that are being strategically put in front of you when you hear Toyota, right? We do that for a myriad of companies right now, from tax relief services to gold brokers to GLP-1 and semaglutides. Any product, any service, we could lift your brand.
You're talking search arbitrage.
It's search arbitrage.
Oh, wait. You're not giving that in the PR blueprint. You're saying they have access to you to discuss doing that.
We could discuss anything you want. Look, if you want to go one-on-one and discuss to me your sex life, I'm more than willing to listen to anything you want to talk about. If you're paying me, who am I to discriminate? But again, I'm being facetious. But yeah, you get one-on-one time. You're paying for it. And if you have any question, no question's silly. The silliest question is the question that's not being asked.
Oh, so one of the things that I admire about you deciding to do a mastermind community, a lot of people don't realize what a mastermind is yet because a lot of people aren't doing masterminds out there.
Mm-hmm.
But a mastermind is when you take a whole group of people that are interested in the same thing as you, PR, trying to learn together, and they can share their tips and their secrets together, having you kind of as the mentor to kind of bounce things back and forth. But the unknown factor for people when they join is that you have contacts now across the globe that you could network with that you only met because of the PR blueprint.
I think the important thing to remember, because you're the king of the masterminds, you're doing all these mastermind courses. And like you said, these are people that collectively want to learn about a certain topic. You're the one that convinced me to do this because you said to me, look, with all the OnlyFans models, all the TikTokers and YouTube people, they've all created these little communities or their little masterminds within their little niche, right? But how do they have the staying power? How do you get the press to constantly go back? You said to me, you're like, Kevin, I don't know how you do this, but you constantly make yourself part of every news story. You've figured out a way to interject yourself into everything. How is it that you keep doing this? And would you be interested in making it a course for other people? I think it's fascinating. And I kind of poo-pooed it when you said it to me. I'm like, who's going to buy this? I'm like, nobody's going to want to buy this. I mean, there's TikTok, there's Instagram. And you're like, yeah, but dude, what makes them so special, right? Does the press keep going back to them? I mean, look, the Haktua girl is a prime example. She had a video that came out talking about what she does with her sexual proclivities, right? Haktua, you got to spit on that thing. Well, she took her 15 minutes and she was able to push it to what? An hour, right? It did self-implode with the meme coin, as we now know. But if it's navigated the right way and you have the best idea and you know that you're going to get people to buy whatever it is you're selling, then this is the course that you need to figure out how you're going to constantly manipulate the press and they're constantly coming back to you. You've got to be the king or queen of the soundbite. The soundbite or the quote is everything.
A prime example about somebody learning how to get really good PR. I could give you one that happened early in your career, actually before your career even started.
I know what you're going to say.
No, you don't.
I know what you're going to. The bear.
The bear.
Okay, now for those of you at home that are going, what is the bear? Is it the TV show about the
But this
cooking?
is a prime example of how if you have a unique story that doesn't happen very often, you could be on the front page of a newspaper.
And again, I have to attribute this to you because, okay, so let's just tell the audience what happened.
Go for it.
So I went to Dad's office in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, which is an industrial park for all intents and
I love
purposes.
how in this podcast you could refer to Dad as Dad instead of like my father. But
Right.
yeah, it's Dad to us. Go
It's
ahead.
Dad. So Dad basically had a security systems company in Warrensville Heights, Ohio. I go to visit him. I'm standing there talking to him, and I look over his shoulder. My eyes turn into silver dollars. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Dad. And I go, holy shit, there's a bear standing on its hind legs behind you in the parking
In Cleveland, Ohio, that's never seen a bear.
A brown bear. A black bear.
Black bear.
Black bear. There's never been any reports or sightings of a black bear in the history. Going back to 1859 in Cleveland, Ohio, I believe. And I go, Dad, oh my God, there's a bear standing over here. And Dad starts laughing. And then he turns around and sees that there's actually a bear on its hind legs standing up. And I go, oh my God, I wonder if it's loose from the circus or maybe the zoo. Oh my God. So we called I called 911. I said, hey, I'd like to report a bear in the parking lot. They said, oh, we've been looking. I said, you have? I said, yeah, a bear came out of hibernation earlier. We're suspecting it came over from Pennsylvania and meandered its way, and it ended up on I-271 earlier today, the freeway that runs up and down Cleveland over there. Well, they came out with a dark. I chased the bear, by the way.
Which was the dumbest thing ever.
Dumbest thing ever.
Why would you chase after a bear?
You know, I guess I kind of wanted to see what a bear actually did in the woods.
You poked the bear.
I poked the bear.
That's what you do at PR.
I guess I poked the bear.
You poked the bear.
Wow, there's an analogy for it.
There you go.
I
See, I'm
poked the
quick
bear.
with it. All right, but hold on a second. So later on that day,
You came home. We were living together at Gates Mills Towers in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. And I remember it like yesterday. You said, so anything interesting happened to you today at work?
saw a bear.
I said, well, I saw a bear at Dad's office. That's
I said,
pretty
wait a
interesting."
minute. That's a front page news story. And you're like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm
What are
like,
you talking about?
it is a front page news story. I guarantee you this will be on the front page of the Cleveland Plain Dealer tomorrow. I bet you on it. And what did I do? I called the Plain Dealer.
You did.
I set it up. I got you on the phone with them. And sure enough, the next day, a huge picture of the bear, Kevin Blatt, whatever area spots a black bear. So
And
it
then
just goes to show you,
You got my first press that I ever generated, basically.
I'm not trying to take credit for all your
Well,
PR.
but you did
I did.
because you realized the power of the story before I even realized
The
power of the story.
uniqueness.
Well, it was unique. And then I remembered I was on every morning radio show in Ohio that week. People were asking, and of course, you got those morning radio zoo, or hey, you're with WMS in the morning. Hey, we got Kevin Blatt, the guy found a bear the other day, blah, blah, blah. Hey, is it true what they say the bears actually do in the woods, KB? And I was like, oh boy, so that was my first taste of press. And I have to say, I have you to thank for it because I actually did do the proverbial poking of the bear.
It's a great story.
It is a good story.
All right, so hold on a second.
Yeah.
You have another story?
Well, it's funny. I don't know why this came to me, but it's a story that we never really talked about. And since we're in this free form podcast, can we tell the story about Courtney Love attacking you?
Does it have to do with press? But sure.
It doesn't have to do with press, but it's a hell of a story. I was
Okay.
just telling the story to somebody yesterday. Many years ago, my brother used to walk around with a camera everywhere he went, right? You were like the first guy that had the digital handheld camera. You had the High 8. You had those little DV tapes.
It was the mini DVs when they first came out. But here's the thing. I didn't realize at the time that I was doing that and going live on the internet that it was very possible I might have been the first podcast out there. I'm not saying I was.
Oh, the
I
D
might have
Money
been.
Show
Yeah.
predates Tom Green and all those
way
other
before. Yeah. I
podcasts.
started it probably in like 99-ish, 2000.
Yeah, you definitely.
And actually broadcasted live on the internet and had clips. It was
Right.
a show and a podcast. But go ahead.
If you remember, we were friendly with the Ciula brothers, John and Tony. And John and Tony Ciula were management at that time for Marilyn Manson. And I got a phone call one said, hey, does your brother still have that camera that he goes everywhere with? I said, of course. Things attached to his shoulder all the time. Well, can you guys come up to the pond? The pond at that time was the, what was it called? The Arrowhead Pond or whatever in Orange County. It's where the Mighty Ducks played.
Mhm.
Now it's the Honda Center, I believe. Yeah, what's going on? They said, well, Hole and Courtney Love are opening up for Manson tonight. And she's been talking shit about Manson on this whole tour. We would love to get video of her talking shit about Marilyn Manson tonight. Come on up. We'll take care of you. We'll get you all access passes. You come see the show and have a good time.
And then we go backstage.
Well, we drove up an hour and a half from San Diego. That's where we were living.
But when we went backstage,
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson himself tells me, whatever you do, don't get caught.
Don't get caught. She's
would
been
be
talking
bad.
shit about me every night. We're going to fill her dressing room with dead fish. That was the first thing. Remember, he wanted to get a truck full of dead fish and fill her dressing room with it. And then he says to me, just remember, this is your all access pass. Do not get caught. And with that, Dee and I go out into the audience. We're watching Hole. We're standing in this place. We're standing in this place. We're getting different, we're getting different areas and different views of Courtney Love. It wasn't until I said, hey, we have all access pass. all access passes. Let's get on stage. Let's go as close as we can.
And we're like right up to the stage.
Speaking of poking the bear.
Right, poking the bear. And at the time, I didn't realize that there is this red light that is on a camera.
Yeah, we
when you're
probably
filming.
should have thought
I
about
probably
that
should have taped that.
and put some black electrical tape
Yeah.
over the light, but we didn't do that.
Didn't do that.
And
So she comes off the stage.
well, we're standing in the wings of the stage, and they're on their last song. I think she's singing Malibu or whatever song it was. And she looks over in the direction of my brother and sees the red light. And I'm standing next to you, and I'm like, oh, dude, she sees us. She sees us. And we can't hear because it's so loud, and we got earplugs in our ears. And then I see her literally veer off the stage and go directly towards you. I go, she's coming at you. She's coming at you. And then she attacks my brother and jumps on you. It says, who put you up to this? Did Brian put you up to? Well, Manson's real name is Brian.
They took my camera and put it in a back room, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, I can't believe they have my camera. So somehow I snuck backstage where the camera was being held by itself,
By
with no one
security.
guarding it.
Yep.
No, like I literally walked in there. I took the tape out. I swapped it out for a blank tape, and then I kept the recorded version in my pocket. And then when they came in there, I'm like, you guys are crazy. I wasn't even filming anything. If you want, here's the tape. Take the tape. And when I open it up, I gave them the blank tape.
By the way, this is 1997. I think we deduced.
Hold
that
on,
was
we could date it because it was The Long Hard Road Out of Hell was the documentary.
correct.
And I'm actually in the credits at the end because of this.
But she made a big stink out of it. They confiscated your camera. You did get your tape back, but if I remember correctly, we went back and we had to tell Manson and his manager, Tony, that we got busted. They were so upset with us. But Manson pitched a bitch and said he wasn't going to go on stage until they gave you the camera back and all this stuff. So then they gave you the camera back, but you had already taken the
I already
tape.
swapped the tape out.
And what a night that was. It was a great show. We had a great time, laughed our asses off. And you remember how it ended, right?
No.
I had that Grand Prix, that old Pontiac Grand Prix where the whole inside was digital. The speedometer, the gas, everything was all lit up. And I had a fuse that had broken. So if you remember, we were driving home and there was no lights on inside my car. We got somewhere in between Oceanside and Carlsbad where there's no rest areas or anything for like 13, 14 miles against the ocean. And we broke down because I was out of gas.
Tell me.
And we ended up screaming and yelling at each other all night long and having to walk to a call box and waiting for a tow truck to come. So it was like the best of times and the worst of times because we had Courtney Love attack you. We saw the greatest show ever. We were hanging out with Manson and everything. And then the next thing you know, we're walking down.
And by the way, he sprained his ankle that night, which was huge news. And they had the paramedics go back there.
And we actually got to see the color
And
of
I
his
learned,
foot.
yeah, we saw the color of his foot. He looked like rigor mortis was setting in. And at that time I said,
I think Manson's foot is actually more tan than your foot, KB.
yeah, because I've never seen my brother's bare feet before. He always sleeps with socks and wears socks.
I did
everywhere.
at that point. Now I don't.
He's got hairless shins because of it.
I do have hairless shins. But lest anybody think that makes my PR abilities any less.
Well, since we're on a roll here, why don't
I
we
just
tell
wanted
some
to-
more stories
you know what?
about the
There's all these good
KBD
stories.
money experience?
I'm looking at it from the social media perspective. We're
Okay,
gonna
I got it. Okay, since
turn
we're
these into
just,
clips. We got Doug over here laughing at some of the
Yeah.
stories. So
since we're just shooting this shit here, let's tell some stories that don't have anything to do with the PR blueprint.
okay.
I remember the second players ball that we threw
Oh boy.
was in South Beach. And the funny thing about that
Oh,
night
boy.
is we had Ice-T host, we had Digital Underground perform, we had our buddy Ika Mouse perform.
Reggae legend.
A reggae legend, but we didn't have him do reggae. I told him I wanted a hip hop set. So he did like a remix of his songs to hip hop that night, which was really unique.
Oh,
But the best part was
no pun intended.
unique. The best part was I gave away the Big Woody Awards for the first time ever. And if you know me, you know I like to give awards to the industry. At the time, I thought it was kind of funny to salute people with a big dick, which was a handcrafted piece of driftwood that a local surfer would get off the beach. And it was called the Big Woody Award, satirized later on by Family Guy.
That's right.
What's interesting about Kevin being in the porn industry at the time, which was the internet division of the porn industry, Kevin was more into the girls. So Kevin is upstairs at the club.
Hey, do you blame me?
I don't blame you. I
Come
mean,
on, man.
Get in a candy shop.
Jesus.
So Kevin's upstairs, and you can't walk through this venue. It's packed. We have 2,000 people in
The
the venue.
Shadow Lounge. in
Shadow
South
Lounge.
Beach.
A former, I think it was a movie theater at one point
It
or
was a
something.
church.
Church.
The church, a temple.
A temple. Wow. And look at what we did to it.
Oy vey.
So there I am, front row on the dance floor, watching my host, because I didn't want to host an event.
Wait,
I
can
just,
we also tell the viewers that you were?
no.
Oh, okay.
We
We're
don't
not
have
going to talk
give
about you
everything.
being on any substances that
No,
evening?
no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
No, but let's just say.
Darren was chewing his gum really hard that night. For whatever reason, I just saw him chewing and his jaws going like this.
Whatever.
And I was in the VIP area at the top of the venue that was up staircase, if you remember.
I had a lot to drink too, and maybe a lot to smoke.
I think that's what it was.
So I had, so you know that movie, 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, remember?
With David Spade.
I had 8 dicks in a duffel bag.
You did.
Literally a dick in a box, let's say. And I put it up on the stage with Ice-T, and Ice-T's looking around, and he doesn't know what the fuck is going on because he's looking at a whole bunch of these big dicks in a box. And all he knew is that they were my awards for the night, but he didn't have the list because Kevin, who's
I had the list in my pocket.
had the list in his pocket.
And I'd be canoodling with all the porn stars.
With all the porn stars, and there was no way in hell you were going to be able to drop that note off the balcony to me or make it anywhere down.
Not with Tara Patrick sitting in my lap, I wasn't.
No. So, or what was it, Taylor
Hayes?
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah.
So there she was on. So Ice-T's like, so who are these awards going to? What am I going to do with it? And everyone's like, D Money. And I'm like, the last thing I need is to get up there on the stage. But, you know, in all fairness, I looked really good because I was wearing the same kind of black suit as Ice-T. I had the black derby hat with the feather.
We were pimping.
So it was my first time on a stage, you know, at one of my events because I never really wanted to host it before. But Ice-T kind of like taught me the game and broke me in kind of quickly.
Oh, you were good. You were a natural.
Thank you.
But you made it up on the fly.
Except I was messed up and I was chewing gum a mile a minute, rocking back and forth. And the funny part was the derby hat I was wearing pushed my ears like this.
Oh, I do remember that.
So I looked so funny with my ears like that, chewing gum like this, rocking back and forth. I felt really cool at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to. Ice-T's like, okay, let's give these Big Woody Awards out. Who's the first one going to it? So he did this whole intro, and the DJ's like, and then it was dead silence. And then I'm drawing a big blank. I had no idea who it's going to.
Yeah.
Somehow at the last second, I managed to remember one of the winners, pointed them out, and for 8 dicks, I had to do this, and I had no idea who they were going to. It was the most awkward moment ever, which kind of taught me a lesson. Come prepared to your events. Know who your awards are going to.
And don't let your brother hold on to the awards show recipients.
And don't bring a bunch of porn stars.
Well, that was the best part of the deal.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Hey, you know what? Let's get back to the PR blueprint real quick because now we're sharing these old stories and stuff. I think it's really important that people understand that you and I did not go to school for public relations. We didn't go to school to become PR people. We're just naturals. And that's one of the things that I do think a lot of this can be taught to people, but I do think that there's some inherent ability that a lot of people have that can do this a little bit better than others.
It just needs crafting.
You and I have no problem being in front of a crowd on stage, whether it's the players' ball.
Well, not after that moment with Ice-T. After that, I'm like, if I could get through that moment, I could get through any moment on stage.
What's important is explaining to people, just like I was explaining the metaphor about walking up to any woman in any bar and saying, hey, my name's Kevin. What's up? How you doing? Can I buy you a drink? It seems very easy, right? To people like you and I to be able to do that. We don't think about the fact that there's so many people that are shy or not really able to talk in front of large crowds, right? Or have the ability because of the fear of rejection. Listen, if fear of rejection is one of the things that's keeping you from being successful doing PR, then I would really welcome you to join my course. Because again, you don't get unless you ask. If it's one thing you and I have learned over the years, right? Don't be afraid to ask. Whether it's a girl that you want to take out, whether it's you want to pay this amount for a car that they have listed for this amount, don't be afraid to ask and don't be afraid to tell. That's what you and I do better than most people. And I think that is the important thing that people get in these modules for the PR blueprint is you don't get unless you ask. The silliest question is the one that's never asked. We provide a service for people. right? It's peace of mind. It's staying power. How to not only get that initial press, but how to stay in the press for as long as possible.
You know, kind of a funny story off topic, not too far off topic. One of your big press outlets, you've worked with Vice a couple of times.
I did.
And one of the mistakes that you made while on Vice was you thought that you were setting up a scene,
Right.
but they were really just wanted to roll footage of you. But you thought that you were getting into like your mode.
Let's rewind. Most people realize that there's news shows and then there's entertainment shows, right? If you look at the definition of what Vice TV was when they first came on the market, it was 60 Minutes meets Jackass, right? Now, there's a lot of people that get their information from Vice, and that's fine. But you, very much like Joe Rogan or any other podcast that you listen to, you have to take it with a grain of salt. There's still an element of entertainment that you're basically watching. So yeah, at one point, they're interviewing you and I decide it will be interesting to show people what goes on in my real life. And my phone rings, right? And it's somebody asking me about a tape. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody or describe to anybody what that conversation was. But Vice turns around and they turn it into some spin that I made up a bullshit story that somebody called me about a sex tape. They made it look like the phone call had dropped, which, as you know, my ringtone at that time was what? Too Short's Blow the Whistle. They couldn't play that ringtone because it's licensed music. So then they show call drops off, which that never happened. To this day, how many views are on that one clip, the Curb Your Enthusiasm clip?
Well, I never thought that I would go viral in a video based on you looking like you're faking a phone call in front of Vice.
Right.
But somehow that clip got like
6 million views or something.
right.
And they end the clip with the wah, wah,
No,
wah, like
it
the
was
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, it was the Curb Your
Right.
Enthusiasm. So that was kind of like one of those mishaps with the press that happens that could go viral.
Listen, you know what?
Not the best one.
Not the greatest, but at the same time, there's no such thing as bad press. Are you kidding me? More people know me from that drop call fiasco. And believe me, I still get DMs all the time. People saying, oh, aren't you the loser that faked that phone call? Right? Well, it doesn't stop them from calling me when they have a sex tape, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Or it doesn't stop them when they say, hey, how can we have you be part of this project? We know you know how to get press to something. You know, last year I went to the AVN show. It was the first time I'd been to AVN, which is the Adult Video News trade show. It's the porn Oscars, but it's also a big trade show that you and I used to go to all the time. And I had all these companies chasing after me saying, KB, we want you to do PR for our company. And I said to him, I haven't been in the adult business for like 8 years. I mean, I don't know how effective I could be. This was Mr. Skin. There was a company called Loyal Fans. I said, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do for you, but we could try. And you know, they retained me. They paid me my fee. And I did exactly what you learn in this PR blueprint. I send out all kinds of press releases, never knowing where they're going to land. TheBlast.com picked up one of the Mr. Skin things because it was about Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter. We packaged it in a way that was interesting for people. It did very well. So yeah, it proved to me that even after a period of time being away from the adult sector, I still had it. I still knew how to get some eyeballs and some press to kind of a dying medium. Because you know and I know, the adult business is not what it was when we got into it in 19.
No, the tube sites killed it all.
The tube sites killed it. OnlyFans only furthered the destruction and implosion of the industry because now the girls are doing it for themselves. They don't need a middleman. They don't need some cigar chomping tattooed guy making money off them. Now they make all the money. I know girls are making $400,000 a month. Can you believe that? I mean,
and what are they doing?
They're not even getting naked. They're bouncing up and down or they're cosplay, but it's a weird world that we're in today. One that I really think is going to get more challenging. I do believe that we're in the midst of an impending recession. And I think the thing for most people is this is the time to pivot. If that wasn't the one word that we got out of the pandemic, what else did we learn? Pivot, pivot, pivot. You have to change what you had been doing to cater to an audience that was cooped up at home. We are now pivoting once again. into a recession where a lot of people are going to be watching this podcast and they're going to say, KB, what do I do? I don't want to work in my day job anymore at Sherwin-Williams. I don't want to be in a desk job listening to my alcoholic boss tell me about the home run his third grader hit. I want to work and do what you do. If you saw the amount of DMs I get on a daily basis, somebody read about me about Kanye West and telling Kanye West to go fuck himself 2 weeks ago with his anti-Semitism.
Whoa. Start over.
Somebody had hit me up when they read about me with Kanye West and the anti-Semitism thing, which I just went viral for.
How did you go? All right. So tell people, how did you go viral with Kanye and have Kanye actually tweet back to you?
Okay. So many years ago, when I learned that there was another side to the sex tape world where I could actually make more money by suppressing a tape, I had gotten shot a tape of Kanye West. And he was with some prostitute in Las Vegas. It was a very lackluster performance. He was rolling on MDMA, and so was she. And this is right about the time he just started seeing Kim Kardashian before they got married or had kids. And obviously, it was all about self-preservation. We had to make this go away. Otherwise, Kanye wasn't going to be able to be with the number one star in the world, Kim Kardashian. So we suppressed it. I'm not going to say how much he spent, but he spent a significant amount
That's
of money.
where you're the fixer.
That's where the Hollywood fixer comes in.
Sometimes you're the PR guy. Sometimes you're a fixer.
Just tell me what
Depends
side
on
of the
price.
desk you want me on.
Yeah.
What side of the desk? Today I'm on this side of the desk. Next week,
So
I
you
might
do
be
him
on
a
that side.
solid. You basically
I do him a
said,
solid. We get rid of it. We destroy the tape. The guy that comes forward with the tape, who happened to be his cousin, gets paid his fee. I get paid my fee. And the guy who brings it to me gets paid the lawyer gets his fee. So many years later, we see that Mr. West is not very fond of Jews. And he's now selling swastikas. He had gone during the Super Bowl for Yeezy.com. He spent $8 million on commercials and changed the product overnight to swastika t-shirts. Not t-shirts, not the tennis shoes that he was selling, but t-shirts, swastika. And he started pushing the buttons of everybody by saying, Jews are this, Jews are that. And I said, look, bro, I made a post on my Instagram with a couple stills from that sex tape, some screen grabs. Hey, Kanye, you might be careful about talking about some of the Jewish people in this town. Your next manager, your agent, your next doctor, your next lawyer might be Jewish. Or the fixer who helped you get rid of that horrible sex tape of yours 12 years ago. And, oh boy, after that, Don Lemon hit me up. All these journalists hit me up because a lot of people follow me, as you know, on Instagram. And they all asked me if it was real. Could I show them the tape? Which obviously, I destroyed the tape. He tweets back at me in front of his 33 million followers. I can't wait to see that tape again. And then, of course, the spin starts and everybody out there thinks I'm extorting Kanye West and that this is revenge porn. And how is Kevin Blatt not being locked up for revenge porn? I never said I was going to release it. I just made mention that I had suppressed the tape many years ago.
as a favor to be cool.
As a favor to be cool. And
So every once in a while, you do need a good Jew in your back pocket.
you do, right?
That's your takeaway. All right, well, hold on. Now, let's jump to another story because one of my favorite stories about your career was Vern Troyer.
Vern Troyer. Mini me.
Mini me. And what makes the story so funny was the quote that you gave about it. Can you tell our audience, don't get too long-winded with this one because it's not that good. Well, but it's good enough for that one quote that was hysterical.
Well, can I give the background? There was a woman named Renee Schreider, and she had come to me telling me she had a sex tape of her and Vern Troyer, which I thought was a joke at first, right? And I went, Vern Troyer, the guy from Austin Powers? The midget?
We can't say midget anymore.
The little person.
The little guy.
But I did say midget at that time.
You did.
I was not politically.
Mm-hmm.
Or do I?
There's no filter. So if you join the PR blueprint, you're going to be unfiltered.
You're not going to get this story, so we're just going to give him this story real quick.
All right, so tell him what happened with this.
So she brings me the tape, and I see it, and I go, wait, Vern Troyer, where did you meet this guy? She goes, I met him at the Playboy Mansion. I'm like, you bet. And most people go to the Playboy Mansion, they meet Scott Baio or they meet Pauly Shore. You know, you don't hear them talking about a little person who's like 3'9" or 4 foot, whatever he was. Anyway, I'm watching this tape, And the first 10 minutes of the tape, he's going down on her. And it looks like a baby trying to re-enter the womb, right? And you're just like, oh my God, what am I looking at here? This is crazy. And then you see them making
That was the
out.
line, by the way.
That was the
The
line.
baby trying to re-enter the womb.
Well, it's funny because I used
and you
to
got
say,
quoted everywhere.
well,
for
I
that
said
line.
fetus originally. And, you know, I hang out at the Comedy Store a lot, and I'm friends with a lot of comics. And Jeff Ross, I had thrown the joke past him. And him being the roast master general, he's smart. And he looked at me and he goes, baby. I go, what? He said, baby. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you said fetus trying to re-enter the womb. Baby's funnier. You know, that's one of the things about comics. They know how to make it jive and the choreography of a joke. So he said baby. So now I say that in public, and oh my God, does that go over
All
pretty
right,
fun?
now,
I remember going to TMZ, by the way,
yeah.
with that tape, and I was in the back room with a bunch of editors, and they said, hold on, we have to get Harvey to come back here and look at it. I said, okay. Harvey comes back. I put the tape in. We start watching it. He sees them making out with the tongues. He's like, oh my God, this is so gross. And then all of a sudden, he sees her, there's this little guy on top of her with his little sausage fingers, and he's trying to hold on for dear life, and he keeps falling off and making these weird noises. And he goes, I can't take it. And he runs out. And I'm like, you didn't even see his pee-pee yet, Harvey. Come back. And then he comes back, and he sees and he just went crazy. Couldn't handle what he was looking at. It was too much for him. By the way, that clip became one of the most viewed clips in TMZ history. And they actually made a billboard that I used to drive past on the 10 freeway. One of the TMZ's biggest billboards had Vern and Renee basically tongue kissing on it.
I thought I was going to say baby re-enters womb.
No. They would have had to pay me a royalty for that one.
Yeah. All right. So what did Jeff Ross, after doing my Affie Awards, or during the Affie Awards, which, by the way, I'm wearing the hat right here.
I know what you're going to say.
What did he say about your brother? What did he
first
call
of
me?
all, I've known Jeff for many, many years. I knew him when he had hair. That's how long I know Jeff. We had gotten him as a special favor, if you're to host your Affie Awards downtown.
For performance marketers, the award for performance marketing.
Correct. And he had come down there not ever having met you, only just talked to you on the phone briefly, and you had some emails. And when I walked him in, all suited and booted and dressed up, I bring him over to you, and I go, Jeff, this is my brother Darren, or D-Money, as he's affectionately. And he looked at you, looked at me, and he said, what happened? And I just could not stop laughing. You know, I love poking fun of myself whenever I can, and I'm very good at that kind of stuff. Man, that was one of the funniest things.
But then what did he
ever
call me? Because he's like, why would your brother want to roast the winners of an award?
Oh, he just thought you were the most evil person in the
He
world.
called me a sick fuck.
He goes, you're a sick fuck.
So why is
He
your
goes,
brother
your
such a sick
brother's
fuck?
giving them awards for their excellence in the industry, and then he wants me to come up there and rip them a new ass? I said, yeah, he's kind of a masochist that way, huh? He goes, no, he's more of a sadist, to be honest with
It
you.
seemed like a good idea at the time.
It did. But it was that was one of the funniest off-the-cuff nights I've ever seen Jeff. And Jeff does this for a living.
We did like an hour comedy special, and that was just a few months before the Tom Brady roast on Netflix.
Yeah, you got him at
I got him right before
the
that.
best deal. Now
And it's
you-
not like he normally does a roast for
No.
anybody, because he only does it on Comedy Central years ago when he did it.
And if he does, it's mid six figures, low six figures.
Yeah.
It's not for what you got him for.
Well, so thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you, Jeff Ross.
And thank you, Jeff. That was awesome having you roast all
I think
of
his funniest joke of the night is when you explained to him that all the people that were sitting in the audience, they were all in the telemarketing angle. They were all SMS texters. And these are the guys that were making all the money in the industry. And you're like, do you know who these guys are, Jeff? Did you know that all these guys are making money online? He goes, oh yeah, I get calls from them all the time. From
my friend Spam Likely.
Yeah, from my
Great line.
Scam Likely.
Scam Likely.
Because I always get these calls from my friends Scam Likely.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
So let's go back to a story that you could tell that has something to do with the Blatt brothers, whether it's early childhood or a player's ball or affiliate ball. Is there anything that you'd like to share?
Well,
Since we only have a few minutes left in my podcast.
I will say this. Every time I see you on stage doing your thing in front of throngs of these marketing people, 3,000 people in Vegas, wherever it is, and you're such a natural up there with your microphone, and it brings back to me a memory of you being 3 years old at Shady Lake in Ohio. There was an amusement park called Shady Lake out in Streetsboro. and it started raining. And I remember being with Mom, and I don't know why this is my earliest memory of 5 years old, but you
It was
went
a good one.
missing and you were gone, and Mom and Dad started freaking out. And then all of a sudden we hear a kid on stage singing, "She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes." And you're singing it because you heard it off the Little Rascals. I think it was Alfalfa, but you sang it exactly like, and you were running, you're walking back and forth across the stage, commanding the stage like you were a star. And I just remember turning around and laughing, and Mom
But
and
the
Dad,
crowd went nuts.
they went crazy because how often do you see a 3-year-old on stage singing with such poise? So
At
I
a
mean,
lisp.
from and a li- well, there was
It
that.
took me years to get rid of that. Sometimes it comes back.
Well, I will say, I never told you that in any setting before, and and it makes me laugh. It warms the cockles of my heart, so to speak.
Cockles.
Yeah,
That's the word of the day.
that's the word of the day.
Uh,
How far are we dug into this?
we're about an hour and 9.
into this. Okay, good. So we got a little bit more time.
Yeah. Any more sticklach?
Well, we should go back into some more PR stuff. Ask me why we're doing this now.
Kevin, lots of people, not just myself, want to know, why would you want to do the PR blueprint now? Why didn't you do it before? Why now?
I need the money.
It was such a horrible setup for that.
I need the money. Show me the money.
You know, it was that phone call I had with you where I said, Kevin, you're going to buy a Lambo next year
Yeah.
or an Aston Martin.
You're going to be a millionaire. You're going to own a mansion
I
and a
said,
yacht.
because this is the new OnlyFans for guys like us,
But you know, it is.
which is starting a course
Look,
and a membership.
I know you
community.
laugh at me because you know I like the ladies, right? And I do commiserate with a lot of OnlyFans models, right? And these girls do make a lot of money. But the one thing that these girls come to me about all the time, hey, do you think there's a celebrity that you could put me with, that I could do a sex tape, make me famous? And I say to them, why would you want to do that? Like, look, at the end of the day, why don't you make a sex tape because you're interesting, not having to rely upon someone else's caliber of fame? You don't need that. You could do something that surely separates you from other people, right? That's where the gift comes into play. I sit down with these OnlyFans models and these influencers, and we figure out what it is that you.
But they're
bring
not
to the-
only OnlyFans models and influencers. they're business professionals, even corporate people that want to get their companies seen.
I deal with corporate people every day that have some type of off-the-wall product that they want to market to the masses. They want to do user-generated content, which, as you know, is the biggest thing going on all social media. It's people that look like you and I, talking like you and I are talking right now about a certain product, whether it's a watch, it's a golf ball cleaner, it's a certain type of pair of pants that you could wear over and over again, whatever it is. We sit down and formulate the right message that you want to convey to your audience, and we custom tailor it. That's what I do. I do it better than just about anybody I know. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm the best at what I do. That's why you need to join the PR Blueprint.
You're definitely uniquely positioned as that guy. Now, here's something also to note. A lot of people, when they start these community sites, they raise their price eventually after the first 100 members, 200 members. So what I will say is now is the best time to join, because you're going to get the introductory founder's price.
Right.
You get to become a founder of a mastermind community
Right.
of PR people.
Imagine you being on the ground floor of Amway, right?
Don't use Amway. Dude.
Well, I mean, look, we always were told with any MLM or multi-level marketing that you're never going to make as much money as the person who started it or the people that are in the first tier. And what I'm telling people here is, no, this is not multi-level marketing, and no, it is not Amway. But you could be part of something that you are in the first tier. You're on the ground floor of an opportunity that we think is going to grow exponentially. And before everybody starts ripping off the course and sharing it with everybody else, be part of the foundation of this building that we are building right now.
Let's build it together.
Let's build this together.
Let's share each other's contacts, insights, kind of run it past the community and see what they think. And let's see what they can do to help you in
Right.
addition to what you could do.
Listen, it's not rocket science. This is very easy, very understandable. And like you could tell by the way I speak, I like to use analogies. I like to show people how to think outside the box, how to think fast on your feet. These are things that, the definition of success, D, as you know, is when preparation and opportunity meet, right? You could be the smartest person in the world. You could have the greatest product in the world. But it's not until that preparation and opportunity intersect that you have a level of success. I'm 56 years old. I've been doing this now for over 23 years. Do you realize the Paris Hilton sex tape came out in 2003?
Wow.
Okay? 2003. American Cannibal, the movie that I started many years ago that was on Showtime, came out in 2006. I've been fooling the media or providing the media with some type of narrative or story that fits me and my business since then. So I'm bringing over 20 years of experience to the table.
Before clickbait, you were audio bait, you were press bait.
Bro, I am clickbait. I am walking, talking clickbait.
You are.
I make people pay attention to me. Pay attention to me.
You were like that as a kid too.
I know.
You were always like that.
But you know what? Better look at now.
So my point with the PR Blueprint is not only can somebody become a founding member at the very beginning, but what I think is probably the biggest value is that you have an upsell where somebody could go one-on-one with you and it's going to cost thousands of dollars. They could have an hour session or whatever it is. However, why not just join the community for as low as the price tag is? You still get to ask those questions. Who cares if it's one-on-one? Be in a group setting and ask that question and save yourself thousands of dollars. So you might as well be a part of the community now, get the introductory rate, and have access to you.
Listen, which camera are we talking? We talking in this camera right here? Let me just explain to you people. When I say you people, I'm talking about my future clients and my future members of the site. You're going to get such intrinsic value. You join the PR Blueprint that you're going to be sending me emails thanking me repeatedly for this opportunity. And again, this is not a cult that you're joining. This is not an MLM. This is straight up a marketing course. This is a seminar. This is my classroom on how to teach you to get everything you've ever wanted out of the media by manipulating, pushing buttons, and just doing it. That's what this is.
No holding back anymore.
No holding back. There's no reason to hold back.
So anybody that joins this course and this group has the potential to do what you did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I know that remember when we were kids, we used to see Don Lapre on late night television on the infomercials talking about, I'm going to show you how to make more money. That's not this. This is legitimate. Want to learn how to control the narrative, spin everything to your advantage, and make lots of money by doing it? Join the PR Blueprint.
You sound a lot like Don Lapre.
Well, listen, we're here talking about it today because we're fired up, right?
That's right.
I've never been more fired up about a product in my life. Why? Because it's product knowledge. All my life, whether it was selling diamonds, cars, security systems, whatever, I never had the amount of product knowledge that I do about Kevin Blatt, right? I'm selling myself and I'm selling my game to you, and it's almost priceless. Whatever you're paying for it is a drop in the bucket compared to what you're going to make back.
Because if you think about it, if they get really, really good at this, they don't have to pay for press anymore.
No.
It's free.
It's free. That's the beauty of it. All the press that I generate is free.
And it lasts a lifetime. You take this with you for life.
There are so many links online today that go back 20 years ago talking about products that I used to sell that are still there. Those products in lots of cases are not, whether it was male enhancement products. Otherwise,
Hey, you hear that?
That's opportunity knocking. I think we got Doug fired up. He's going to
you ready to join? Are you guys ready to join? Did we not sell you hard enough yet? You need to join, even if you're in the industry that I'm in.
Do people not know, by the way, maybe we should leave them with that story that I was the king of selling male enhancement products in 1999.
And now you're the biggest dick in the world.
Now I'm the biggest dick ever. I went from showing people how to grow a big dick to being the biggest dick.
Yeah, but hey, whatever gets press.
Whatever. Listen, just tell me what side of the desk you want.
Now, for people in my industry of performance marketing, they can join too, because this goes to anybody that has something to sell.
This is great for performance marketers. Are you kidding me?
Because if you go viral, if you get some press, you can put this out there and basically feed your family for months.
Listen, I'm not taking anything away from the people that come to your parties, but let's just say that they're not the most outgoing social people, and they're not people that like to be here across a desk talking.
Don't diss my crowd. My crowd are ballers.
I'm just saying. The reason why we started the Players Ball many years ago was for all the wallflower internet types that weren't good at shaking hands or going, hey, my name is so-and-so and this is what I sell. We were the Pied Pipers of the Players Ball. We used to say we were the Pied Pipers of porn, right? People would come along because we threw a party that we thought people would get down to and really enjoy. We booked talent. That was the stuff that we were listening to. If you remember, the first show was Sublime. It was Long Beach Dub All-Stars.
Contractually, we couldn't call them Sublime because Brad had just passed away.
That's right.
So it was Long Beach Dub All-Stars, which happened to do the entire set of Sublime.
And if you remember, then Digital Underground, Ice-T, Too Short. I mean, if somebody would have told me back in 99 when the Players Ball was going on, someday I would be co-hosting a podcast with the rapper Too Short.
Blow the Whistle podcast.
Blow the Whistle. And you'd become one of my closest friends.
Which, by the way, this is a great segue into, did I tell you that Too Short and I were chatting the other day and I made him an offer to perform for New York?
Right.
So if you want to come on August 4th to New York for the affiliate ball, this is just for my people now because it's a private event. You have to be carefully screened and you have to go to Affiliate Summit East.
Yeah,
but if you
we
qualify for all of that and you're not just any random person watching this video, basically you can get into the biggest performance marketing event on a rooftop with Too Short, our homie, performing. And you might even be there because how else am I going to get him to go on time if you don't have dinner for him and bring him there yourself? Because he's on rapper time.
Well, there's that. There's a reason why we don't do the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still waiting for him to show up to the last podcast. I love you, Too Short. You're my homie for life. I will say this. I will most likely be in New York with you.
If it's Too Short.
And not if it's Too Short. If it's not Too Short. My new audience is your audience. I'm getting people left and right from my brand cloud, brand lifting services. But again, this is such an effective tool for affiliate marketers to learn
with your search arbitrage.
Well, not just the search arbitrage, but with PR Blueprint. This is going to be a place where a lot of the people that come to your events, they're going to benefit from getting this course.
I'll give one comparison. It's kind of, I wrestled for 1 year when I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, you actually lost to a blind guy.
Don't bring up old shit. He could see figures. Had I known that he was blind, I would have gone in and swept the leg, but I didn't know that at the time. And he could basically, once you're locked in and you
could have swept the leg and checked his oil at the same time.
Anyway, what the coach taught me is you only need one move, master it really, really well, and you can make it all the way to states.
And isn't that what we're talking about today?
We're talking about make that one PR move that takes you all the way to get that press.
And don't get beat by a blind wrestler.
Fuck you, dude. Such an asshole. This is why you jelked your ass off and became the biggest dick on the internet.
That's right.
Kevin Blatt, my brother.
Yes.
PR
KB.
K Bizzle, as Snoop Dogg affectionately calls you.
He did give me my nickname.
Did a thing.
Yeah.
Released prblueprint.com. And you could join it right now and learn all the secrets right now. It's actually up. It's up and running. We're going to release it with this video. PR Blueprint. You could be literally, if it's only one member in there and it's you, you're going to get that one-on-one consulting time with Kevin. So you want to hope that we do bad so you get that one-on-one time, but let's hope we get a few more members.
Either way, I'm collecting credit cards. Give me your money. Give me your money. No, yeah. Of course, you could sign up online. Use your credit card. You want to get me on Zoom and you want to do one-on-ones, this is the best place to do it.
You buying lunch?
I'm buying lunch.
All right, let's end the show on that.
Swingers is on me.
Let's go.
Swingers should actually be one of the sponsors of the podcast. They are literally right up the street.
All right. Well, thanks for that plug for Swingers. Let's go collect a check from them now.
You got it.
All right, everybody. Let's wrap it up. The D Money Show with my brother, like for real, my brother, Kevin Blatt. Thank you.